What's up, everybody? Bootsy Greenwood here, and I know what you're thinking. I look really good. Killing it. Just been crying all day on a plane, and I haven't trimmed my beard in like weeks. I don't even know how long. And yeah, it's been a day. I gotta be honest. It's been a day, and I wanted to come home and immediately make this video. I just got home from California. It was an amazing trip. Made a bunch of content for Transurfing TV. Go over there, check it out. I'll be uploading a bunch of stuff over there. It was amazing. And then I went to San Francisco, hung out with a buddy for a few days, doing editing and just staying really busy. And everything was great. You're just riding along, you're cruising. And, you know, before too long, sometimes you slip and fall and go face first into the drink, and that's just kind of part of life, you know? That's what we're doing here. We are having experiences, very human ones, and, you know, I really want to say, first of all, thanks to everybody. I got a lot of really good feedback on the last couple of videos, and I'm not trying to go bleak here, okay? Let me make that clear. I've just had an interesting run, and things have been difficult lately. Or at least I've gotten handed news that I didn't expect, and that's just part of life. Shit happens. That's just how it is, you know? We're always gonna be surprised. There's always gonna be things that pop up. Sometimes they're unexpectedly fantastic. Sometimes they're kind of a bummer. And it's okay when they're a bummer, and I wanna make sure, you know, that I'm being honest, I'm being transparent here. And if I'm going to teach these concepts, then I actually need to live by them. So had a couple of rough days the past couple days, especially today. And I've just been really upset, heartbroken. And that's just part of life, you know, like sometimes, you know, these things happen, and it's okay to be human and deal with them like a human and go through the 5 stages of grief, right? Where I'm in the bargaining phase right now, the most annoying one, clearly. And, you know, you start out in denial. You're like, this can't be happening. And then anger, no. And then bargaining, where you're like, well, yeah, but it can, but it can. So you're dealing with it. Depression, that's tomorrow. Can't wait. And then finally, acceptance, okay? That's going to be probably a couple of weeks, honest to God. Like, because we're human beings, man, and we're living life. And there's going to be some stuff that happens that we don't foresee and that we really didn't want to have happen. That's just part of it. But when these things do happen, what do we do in those moments? And it's really all about choice. It's really all about seeking the advantage. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I'm in this state, you know. It's like really easy for me to hop up here and be like, what's up, everybody? You know, like I'm in a good mood. I focus on my sensations in my body a lot. I focus on the energy flow in my body. I'm usually a pretty blissed out dude. I'm a relatively happy guy, okay? I want to speak on that, I guess, and just say, like, it's not your right to be happy, okay? So anybody who ever told you that, I don't know where that comes from. It's more of a pursuit, and I think you could find contentment, but happiness is, I don't know. I feel like it's a pretty elusive thing in a lot of ways, and I'm not trying to be like negative or nihilistic or anything, but you know, happiness, man, you know, it's such a fleeting thing. Like I feel like I come from a place of joy, you know, pretty often, most days, you know, at least as far as how I feel. But happiness is, man, like that's such a weird word. It's kind of like success. Like you can only really define that for yourself. So I've been going through some of these stages of grief. Like I said, I'm probably at the bargaining phase right now because I had a goal. I had a goal here, and I had a process in mind that I was going to take to get to that goal. And here I was, and I was going up, and just like I say, don't do, I was like, well, this thing's gonna happen, this thing's gonna happen, we gotta go. And we're gonna get to here. Well, This thing happened, this thing happened, this thing happened, and this thing, train wreck. Okay, great. So now what? Now, I guess I get to choose what this means. This either means downward spiral, okay? And, I'll also add that this downward spiral doesn't have to go down too far, okay? A couple of years ago, had I been doing this, and then all of a sudden this thing happened, I would have taken all my negative energy, all the things that I was upset about, and I would have projected them on top of this, right? Like, let's say I bounced a check, which I did a couple of days ago. I bounced a check. I had money, I just forgot to move it over to my checking account, and it bounced, and my landlord called me, and he's like, hey, dude, check bounced. And I was like, oh, whoops. So, kind of a bummer, but I talked to him, and I was like, don't worry, when I get home, I'll send you a new check, and I'll send you a check for next month and all that. And he was totally cool about it. But a couple of years ago, I would have bounced that check, and I would have taken that to a whole nother level. Like, I would have been like, oh my God, I don't have any money. I'm never going to be, financially stable. I'm always going to be in lack. My family, this and that, my friends, this and that. And I would have just literally strewn all that negativity all over. So instead of just coming down here, I would have come all the way down here. I would have just been like, and it just would have absolutely pushed me down farther and farther. I mean, you can ride that all the way down to homelessness. It can go as far as you want. And the other option is to choose advantage, right? And so what does that do? That puts us hopefully back on our goal with an upward spiral. Maybe we get there a different way than we thought we would, right? At that point, right? So that's advantage. We still want to meet our goal, whatever that is. Hopefully we are going to meet it, and we're coming down. And this is concentric circles here. So this is getting to our deepest fear. Our most authentic purpose is layered in fears. This is fear, this is fear, this is fear, this is fear. So we have to break through these barriers as we are walking toward our deepest purpose, right? It's like peeling back the layers of the onion, what have you. Well, that's what happened to me. I was on my way here, and I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to try, right? And I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this choice a little bit. But that's what happened. I was coming up, and bam! Everything felt so good. It was like I was surfing, hanging 10, whatever. And then I just face planted right into the ocean. And that's going to happen from time to time. That's happened to me at least a couple times since I started transurfing. Probably twice, where it was like, oh yeah, I got this. And then bam, out of nowhere, just kind of a train wreck. And so how we deal with that is really what's most important. So, today I bummed out. I allow myself to cry. I just put my sunglasses on the plane and I just cried. And, I usually do that anyway, but it's usually like out of love, because I'm thinking about like you guys or people that I've spoken with or people that I know and love, and it brings me to tears. Like, I love people a lot. I love people. So, I think about people, it makes me well up because I just have a lot of love for you guys and what we're doing here. I want to try to make the world a happier place and bring joy and all these things. So, I try to do that. And usually I'm pretty good about it. But today, no. Sunglasses on, crying on the plane, looking like shit, and just doing the best that I can. Going through these 5 stages of grief, because that's part of it, but also choosing, right? And so this is really where the rubber meets the road. And if we can be, if we can be here for this, then we can do some pretty amazing things, okay? So this is if you haven't guessed already, this is a faucet, okay? And what is going to happen with this faucet is it's going to drop a piece of water, a drop of water, okay? And here I am, okay? This is me, and this is a drop of water. Here it comes, okay? Now, I've got a choice to make here. This water is going to hit me. There's no way it's not. It's right above my head, gravity, as far as I know, is a thing. The water drops out of the faucet, and I'm standing under the faucet. Boom, it's gonna hit me. So splash. So I have a decision to make at that point. Right? We know quantum physics, don't we? Positive or negative. Is this water droplet, when it hits me, gonna be a positive or a negative thing overall? Now in the moment, I can be like, oh shit, I just got wet. I got a big drop on me, ooh, and it's cold. And then at that point, I get to choose. Like I can react, I can be affected by it. That's okay. It's okay to say, oh, well, that sucked, or something like that. And that's fine. But then we need to reevaluate and put ourselves in a specific position and say, you know what? I don't know how, I don't know why, because those things don't matter. But this is either to my advantage or to my detriment. It's either to my advantage or to my disadvantage, okay? Now another water droplet's gonna come after that one. And you know what? Another one after that. And they're constantly gonna drop on us. And we're constantly going to have to deal with these things. Now, I'm not saying you go get a diagnosis and you're like, all right, yay, woohoo, that's just the news I needed. That is really weird. Why would you ever react that way? Instead, it's about seeking what the advantage could be in the situation. So if you got a diagnosis, it's not good news, dude. That's not really a positive thing. Okay. Now, depending on what it is, there are several advantages to be sought through that experience. What can you learn? What can you give? What can you experience? Like there's a lot. What can you teach from it? Who can you help? And these are not things that you probably want to start off asking, because we want to go through those first 5 stages of grief. But, when we're down, it's real easy to just get wrapped up in that downward spiral, right? Like this thing hits you and you're like, oh, water's always going to be here and I'm always going to be wet and it's just going to keep on dropping on me no matter what. And like today I was like, in the plane, I was like, I hope this thing crashes. And I was like, shut that baby up. And I was like, you can't hit a baby in a plane on the ground, but when we get to 10,000 feet, man, it's another, no, but I was really upset, okay? I had some crazy thoughts going through my head. Stuff that I didn't really even mean, thinking about, imminent death and all these terrible things. And it's like, you hear that stuff and you're like, man, that is not my normal rationale. I'm just so disappointed. I'm just so upset that I'm going to the negative, and look what that's doing. It's just putting me on a downward spiral. So if we can just catch ourselves here or here or here, just catch ourselves at some point and say, oh, okay, let me reevaluate this. I'm gonna catch myself right here. Okay, cool. I had a couple of thoughts about that crying baby. I need to tone it down a little bit. I know that this seems like a disaster, but many times before, I've experienced something that seemed like a disaster and became an advantage. Advantage is there if we seek it. Okay? Things don't always go the way we think they're going to. In fact, almost never do they ever do that. But even in that super negative moment, you can reevaluate your position to reality and how you're reacting to it and say, look, this is not my most favorable outcome right now. It's not where I want to be. However, I'm overall still going to where I want to be, which is the end goal. I'm facing my fear. And as we face our fear, we're going to have to face it. Things are going to happen. And we're going to have to learn, and we're going to have to push ourselves, and we're going to have to do things that are uncomfortable in order to push through to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And heartbreak is part of it. I'm a very emotional person. It's really hard for me not to express myself in an emotional way when something drastic happens. It's just how I am, and I can't not do that. So I say all that to say, I'm bummed out. And again, I'm not trying to make this a thing, right? Like, bleakness is not my soapbox. But like, I'm bummed out. I just got water dripped on me, and I am trying to shake it off and find the advantage eventually, right? It may not be today, but there is an advantage, and the world, it can and will regroup. And as long as I continue to hold my arms up in the mirror, the metaphysical mirror of the dual mirror of reality, eventually this side will reflect this side. So in that moment, I'm tempted to get upset, I'm tempted to get bummed out, and I even get bummed out. But I'm like, all right, I'm going to get bummed out, but I'm also going to remember, this isn't good. Like, I'm not going to flip this and be like, oh, well, this is good. This is a good thing that's happened to me. Like, you just got, a car just came by and just like put mud all over you. Like, you shouldn't just, I don't think like, I don't think that's the right. Anyway, my point is that we have to stay vigilant and look toward the end goal, and just stay on track. Just stay on course. Just put another foot in front of the other. Setbacks are going to happen. Things that you don't understand are going to happen. A lot of things you don't understand are going to happen. And we're going to have to figure out how to deal with those things and ultimately seek the advantage in every opportunity. That's what Tufty is all about. That's what choice is all about, right? Every water droplet that hits you, you have a choice to make, right? And this could be, warm water that feels great. And this could be cold water that's icy cold. But you have a choice to make every single time, right? Are we going to be binary and just react to the negative and go down the downward spiral? Or are we going to choose to continue to go toward our goal, put our arms up in the mirror, and wait for that reflection to look back at us? Hopefully the second one. I just wanted to make this video because I'm tired and I feel pretty crappy. And, I just want to say too that I just really appreciate everybody, all you guys out there. Thanks so much for all the great messages over the past couple of weeks. And it means a lot. I mean, it really does. I should be able to wake up and just feel good on my own and not need any assistance in that. And for the most part, that's true, but it's really powerful and meaningful and kind and touching when people have reached out, as many of you had. So I want to say thank you all very much for reaching out, for caring, thank you for that. It means a lot. And I hope you guys will go check out Transurfing TV and what we've been to up there. We've made a bunch of awesome content. It's just going to continue to pour out. I'm going to keep making videos here on this channel, and you guys comment below. Let me know what you want to see, and I just want to say thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Okay.